So my friends, thank you very much for joining me, tuning in, being here. This is a wonderful, wonderful experiment of this show, or this conversation with me, with your host, Zsuzsanna Herceg, a medium, and I'm based here in the UK, where we are enjoying the winter. We started enjoying December. So I tell you what, I am really excited to be here. And why I'm really excited to be here, because this is a slightly different setup. Normally, when I'm here with you talking on Pulse Talk Radio on Mondays, you can hear me, but today I had a different idea about things, trying different things. So you might be watching and you might be listening, and you might be doing different things. So whatever way you are here, thank you very much for joining me. This is our show on Pulse Talk Radio, and that is Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium. And then you might be also listening to this wonderful conversation on my podcast, which is Let's Talk Spirit. So we are multi-channeling and multi-platforming and repurposing our contents and doing various things, being creative, being an entrepreneur, being a medium, being a free spirit, being what we can potentially do, and then trying different things as well. So I tell you what, I am just, as you can see and as you can hear, I'm just making up what I'm saying, but then that is what is in the energy, because I'm very curious, I'm very excited. And then you see, yeah, here we go. So that might mean a different step forward for this particular show, Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium, here on Pulse Talk Radio, and then also my podcast, Let's Talk Spirit, which is available on podbean.com/Zsuzsanna Medium, ZSUZSANNA Medium. And then you see, let's just start the show. Pulse Talk Radio, thanks very much for Pulse Talk Radio for this segment of time. I'm always here on Mondays at, how do we say it? Because it's like 2 to 3 p.m., 2 to 3 p.m. EST, and 6 to 7 p.m. GMT. Does it work? No, it could be then 1 to 2 p.m. EST and 6 to 7 p.m. GMT time. So here we go. Now, if you are watching, if you are listening, feel free to comment wherever you see this conversation, and I'll do my best to get back to you, find you. Alternatively, if you have any question, any request about this particular show, this particular conversation, feel free to send an email to hello@zsuzannamedium.com. And Zsuzsanna is always 9 letters, ZSUZSANNA medium.com. This is how you can find this name, my name, anywhere or everywhere here. So here we go. Now, today's show here, I am really excited. It is December time, the second week of December. And then we would really get ready for Christmas. You might be really already preparing your meals and your, baking ahead or creating things. Well, maybe not baking ahead that much. Maybe you are just trying out a few recipes. We can always do that. And it's a brilliant excuse for ourselves to try or to treat ourselves to some lovely biscuits or cakes or whatever you want to create before the big event arrives. Or you might be packing presents, or you might have spent some time this weekend looking for presents or ordering. And, if you are here in the UK, probably it's better if you do it quickly before the post has a different idea of delivering your parcels and your cards and then your letters. And I need to do the same as well. So it really requires us a slightly different preparation, but hey, I think we are very, very strong. We are getting along with every single step what we need to take here. And that is really what is the purpose of this show, my show, Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium, to make sense, to make sense of things and life, and reflect on our physical reality, our experience here in the UK towards the end of 2022. And then at the same time, being spiritual about things, or being lighthearted, or allowing ourselves to reflect about various things. So now this is a new setup here on the Pulse Talk Radio for myself. I'm talking and recording various different things. So I'm just trying out things here. So I'm just letting you know that if there is a hiccup, that is just a practice. Well, it's a shall I say it's a practice show, but in fact, this is not a practice show because that is live as I speak to you right now. And then, here immediately there is a lesson for all of us, when we say we are going to practice, we are going to practice something before we do it, or before we have it, or before we being it. But then you just forget about the whole I need to practice, and then just go and do immediately what you are feeling in the spur of a moment and what you need to do. If you want to try something out, try it out. If you have an idea, go after it. So very often I talk about this, and I also talk about the emotional and psychological or even spiritual background to any of those conversations. But here we go. It's good to be here. It's December. So going back to December, a lot of us, a lot of you might be already thinking and planning, and already your Christmas tree might be up. You see here, the Christmas tree is not ready here, not ready yet, or none of the Christmas decorations. And actually, that's why I want to talk to you about December, So if you are a Christmas person, if everything is on track with you, and then you are already enjoying your mince pies, and then you are already trying out the spiced wine or different things, what you want to present to your family, then you are on one track. So you go along with those things. And then if you are just getting ready for a Christmas, you might be already writing or setting your cards. You are a very wise one. You are a very wise one if you are already doing it. But if you are like me, who's taking your time, taking his or her time, if you are like me, planning or doing things differently, slightly differently, because this is what you need to do, then go along and then do that frequency, and be that frequency. So you see, a few days ago, actually a week ago, I was driving my car here in Newark and Trent. We are here in Nottinghamshire in the Midlands, and there are times when you can do only 20. You cannot do much speed here because of the traffic, and of course people are out. But white is really, really lovely because it allows us to pause, whether it's a red light, a green light, or the amber, or you just can't move forward. So you are looking around. You are being stuck in your car for a couple of minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You are stuck in your car, but then use this opportunity to look around. And that is actually the time when we notice things around us. For me, it is very interesting because it's about the different buildings, 17th century buildings, and then the Georgian buildings, and then the Victorian buildings, and then watching the people and then the lights. And it's very beautiful to just engage with that energy. But then what else came forward while I was sitting in my car? And this is just quite amazing how our mind or how energy works, because I was just saying December is for Christmas. Of course, everybody's thinking about Christmas, Father Christmas and so on, and the children's getting ready in schools. But then listen to this. This is what I got. D is for decluttering. And I said to myself, oh my goodness me, not again. I need to declutter. I thought that was a message from Spirit in June, July, declutter now, because from September onwards, there's a different energy coming in. And get ready, because from January, February onwards, there's a different energy coming in. So when I received this nudge of D is for December, and D is for decluttering in December, then I became very sparkly. That was sparkly, can I say? Maybe the wine can be sparkly, but I became very excited because, when you get the sensation, when you get the nudge, it's not coming from you, because personally, if you can look around and take in the Christmas vibes, as opposed to think about something else. But then when the energy is showing us something else, whether it is a word, a sensation, or you see something, and then suddenly everything clicks together, comes together, that is where we need to, or the music comes up in your car, even without pressing a button, the music comes up on. But then that is a time when we need to follow those nudges. And that is a time actually when we are feeling really inspired and wow, and you reflect that, oh my goodness me, I wasn't thinking about this, but I really like the idea. So of course I did my round around in town. I came home and I started decluttering. And then if you are one of my friends or families, and you know what decluttering means in this house, in my household all the time, then you mean that that's a big, big thing. It's not just any little door over there or a shelf tidying up, but it means big things. And sometimes people say, I wonder what you still have in your house because you are decluttering all the time. But then just really take this idea, my lovely listener, and you just really think about this. Why is it really exciting to do the decluttering first at the beginning, the first part, at least the first part of December, and then do the Christmas afterwards, as opposed to rush into your Christmas, buy your present, put your Christmas tree on and up, or watch your cat not jumping at the tree, and secure the cats and dogs and the children and then all the various things you need to sort out. And you have written your list of people visiting you, and you know who you are visiting, who is sharing the children, what is happening, what is to the right and to the left. And then knowing how much you can or you are planning to eat, with your, I don't know, sugar or whatever level. But so that's one conversation. But then just consider, we are preparing for something very, very special, very bright. And then now, especially the last few years, how things are going, it might be a different Christmas. And I'm sure, actually, not just might be, but surely, or might be, or maybe, possibly, perhaps, it is a different Christmas sensation, energy altogether for a lot of people. So I recognize that. But then we are still preparing for that, because we know that when we are experiencing Christmas, then we go out of Christmas, and then we are looking forward to the new year. And then we are looking forward to the next year, stepping into the new year. And then who wants to go into the new year while we are still thinking about drawers and shed and some shelves and some pieces of toys and furniture and objects and books and paperwork and filing to do, or the clothes that we can't fit anymore, we cannot fit into those anymore. And we are just dreaming that maybe one day I will be big enough, or one day I will be small enough to fit myself into those items. But we are still hanging on to those things, What is not very fascinating and exciting about doing decluttering at the beginning of December? So my friends, come on board with me, share your ideas. if you are inspired with this little share here, decluttering. And it's not just the couple of pieces of paper or magazines, long forgotten magazines of the subject you are not interested anymore, or things, your hobbies. We might have hobbies, and you've got boxes of things belonging to your hobbies, and of course you don't want to hang on to those ones if you have things change, or maybe items, objects belonging to loved ones who are not around, not the ones who passed over, because that's a different conversation, but then objects of lost loves, lovers, husbands, wives, or whatever your situation. And or your child is with the other person, with your other half over there, maybe in a different country, or various setup and situations. But then those objects, so we can definitely, yes, it's really showing me to take a breath with this one, because that is where, just consider, if we hang on to those things, then they are coming up on our timeline in 2023. And who wants to deal with old stuff when we are in January and we want to go forward, and whatever this world is bringing forward for us, especially here in the UK, then we want to be able to be there, present, and deal with that, and knowing our resources, what is around us, our time, our energy, and everything, really beginning from ourselves, and bringing ourselves forward. We don't want to think about all objects. We don't want to think about lost or missed appointments, or cards and exhibitions and papers and tickets, or maps of cities we don't visit anymore, or no longer would we be there, or various things, So look through, or shoes, you bought a nice pair of shoes 5 years ago on a sale in January, and believing that you will be enjoying it one day, but then you learn very soon that it's not your thing. So just put it out, give it to the charity shop, give it to somebody, check it out if it's very, very worn or useless, or sell it, do something with it, let it, put it into the energy, into the flow of energy. And whatever way it goes out of your system, of your environment, then that energy is going to come back to you, So take it on. Take it on. It is extremely empowering. I can tell you, I can coach you, I can shake you up if you have things that you feel that you need to attach yourself, or you need to have that memory and attachment conversation still going on, you know. So we can potentially work on that if you are interested in working on this. But then actually, if you say to yourself that you give yourself a time frame like a week, you know, and then you say to yourself that every day, certain hour, certain time, or, you know, that doesn't matter. You just say to yourself at one time, you know, like I'll give you some half an hour, set your alarm set your watch on or your phone on the alarm, and stay and do it for half an hour and go around the house. Even we can do it in all different ways. You know, you can just say that I'm working in one room. Let's see what needs to be done here, and go for the corner or the drawer or the shelf you really don't want to deal with, because if you do it there at the beginning, then you will have the confidence going, and then you get this good energy, the moisture, you know, the juice in you start moving forward and shaking you up and feeling creative. Because immediately when we check out or give away a few books, like a half shelf of books, then you've got the space, you know. It's not that what we are going to put over there instead of this set of books, but then you immediately know that is a different energy altogether. Anything. Yeah, you see, space is giving me this. You will be breathing with this space. That is what is available for you as well. And then you can also do that if you don't want to anchor yourself to one shelf or one drawer or one section of your home, then get a bag, get a, you know, the dark one, the plastic one, you know, the black bag, because then you don't see what is there. Once you chuck it away, then it's not going to come up, you know. You create a boundary, a clear boundary with yourself, for yourself, and you say to yourself that everything what I pick up and then I consider to be unnecessary in my life, and it needs to go to the rubbish bin, it goes in the rubbish bin. And may I be the strong one here not to go after the thing, and then with my head and with my arm going down and digging and finding that one tiny thing which I actually changed my mind I want to keep. You know, no, go get a big bag and start going around, put it on your waist. You can be very creative, put some good music on, and then just do the thing. You know, it's much easier than you feel or you think right now, because once we have, and that's a good conversation, once we have the intention to do something, and you feel that now I am, wow, I'm feeling really empowered, I'm feeling really curious, I am buzzing, I'm excited, you know, and that energy, once you step into that energy, it means that whatever you pick up, it's going to be easier to deal with that object, easier to deal with that piece of memory, you know. Say it to the object, you know, I'm grateful. You served me, you were in my company, I was your company, we were sharing part of our journeys here, but I feel right now that you are ready to move on, or I am ready to move on. Here we go. Thank you for being in my presence. Thank you for sharing your life with me. You can talk to your object like that. And then you put it in your bag. And then similarly, you can do, if you have children, toys, discuss it with the children. You know, now, guys, we are tidying up a little bit so that we can have different things, different energies coming in here. Because if we are keeping on to these ones, they are holding ourselves back. Everybody's growing, and you are growing, and then your toys, especially the ones you have not played with for the whole year, there might be somebody really happy to receive those toys, especially for Christmas. So shall we just have a little look in this box? What do you feel about this? And then just listen to the children, what they say, and let them, you can give them a few ideas how to organize things that we want to keep, we are thinking about. You can have a box, and we can even label it, and I am thinking for one day, and then I am happy to let it go, or let it go, or let it go, if even if they are in the, still in the story, let it go, you know, that, put it on the on that box over there, have a label for that. You can have 3 boxes, you know, keeping it, mind you, what I want to keep is probably going back to the shelf, or keeping it, or I'm not sure, I'm thinking about it for a day, and I am ready, bye-bye. You can call it the bye-bye box even. And it means that every day, one adult is picking, or even the child can take the bye-bye box into the charity shop, or into a community Christmas tree underneath, or giving it to a local church or some kind of occasion, so it's extremely powerful. Like, in fact, let the child do that because it's very emotional and it's extremely empowering. And then if they take it to the market, can have a little store maybe with their friends, and they can sell their little bric-a-bracs and different things, and they can have a couple of piles, a couple of coins for them, and that can be their little pocket money, and then teach them how they can invest it into something, turn it into something else, or exchange, or anything that opens up a lot of different conversations afterwards. But then decluttering is extremely empowering. I remember a few years ago when I had to do some, because that was necessary, had to do some big shift of energies in my old home. Then you see, emotionally, you are not thinking of every single object when you have a set amount of time to tidy up the environment belonging to somebody, let's say somebody who passed away, and we needed to get ready their home as well as some other things in the home. So we are not thinking about every single object, but then emotionally we let go of things. What you can also try, if you find it a little bit challenging to let go of things, take pictures, take a picture of those objects, and then file it. And from time to time, if you really want to look at it on your external drive or wherever you want to save it, then you look at it. But then you will notice, listen, and that works beautifully. You will notice that once you let go of that object, and you take your pictures, and then you know how you are or where you save those photos, then your life takes over and you are busy with other things. And maybe a year later, or maybe a couple of years later, when you are looking for something else, and then these series of photos come up on your timeline, and then you are reminiscing. And then you are remembering certain things which you have already forgotten by the time, because you are not thinking about them. It's not in your environment, Now, this emotional attachment and emotional healing is a very, very important thing in our human identity, in our human consciousness. When it gets to the end of the year, the end of the calendar year, then we are thinking about letting go of things in preparation for the new year and for the new energy to come, and we want to welcome it, we want to be ready for that. But in fact, that can be, or that is, a beautiful practice if you take it on, let's say, every week. Every week, once a week, I give myself 1 hour or 2 hours just to do a decluttering around myself, the unnecessary things. And I know some of you are very, very good at those things. Some of us, including myself, where we are very creative and lots of things are happening at the same time. And then we put one thing over there and then we start doing something else. So it's really, we need to learn how we are there for one activity or one thing, and then we give the attention, the energy to something else afterwards, as opposed to piling up everything, paperwork or cards, and when you are working here and working there, and then all the various things are happening at the same time. So that's a different topic, it's a different learning. But whatever way you are doing it, take it on, explore the idea. You can start maybe with something which is easy, not is maybe a side of a shelf, or maybe your kitchen drawer, one drawer in the kitchen or in the bathroom, or even just tidying up the towels a little bit. So even just a couple of minutes, because once we step back and we see, oh, it feels different, then it gives us that beautiful homey energy, and that allows us to really move into the next one and get the inspiration going, and then we see what is really beautiful, because when we let something go, because you see, even the energy is working in this way, that once we let something go, then spirit consciousness is going to show us or giving us something else. And I'll give you an example, because the last few days I've been doing this thing, decluttering and letting go. And actually, I'm selling a few of my musical instruments, the things I'm not using for early years, music education and those kind of things. So some percussion instruments, because I'm not seeing them using them anymore or any longer. So there is another family and another group of children who are going to enjoy those things. So things are going out of my house, and it means having maybe 10 pounds extra, 5 pounds or 10 pounds. But then you see what is really interesting. This weekend, I popped out to my town again out in Newark. And then yesterday, Sunday, they had a Victorian market, Christmas market, a steampunk and Victorian Christmas market. And I got there when they were setting up things, not to the actual event going or happening. But then I absolutely love the costumes and people dressing up and selling things related to those times, especially Victorian times, so 19th century, second part of 19th century, going into the early part of the 20th century. And of course, the history comes alive and it's exciting and it's vibrant. And then as I was walking around, of course, I go for the books. I'm checking out the book seller, the book vendor, do we call the book vendor? The person who sells old books, those ones, the antique person. And then lo and behold, watch now, if you are watching now, it's really good for you because you can see what I'm going to show you. Look at this, what I found. Look at this beautiful, beautiful set of cards. Now when you are a psychic and medium, you are going around. Of course, you are not thinking about the psychic and the mediumistic elements, although I quite like the historical things, because immediately I'm imagining what it would have felt like for the people, ladies and gentlemen, wearing those things as their real clothes, for instance, as opposed to these people wearing them as props or costumes. But then at that time, that was their reality. So you look at them and you think about them and everything, what they are wearing, and I wonder what their lives were like or how they felt being alive, So that aspect I'm interested in those things. In fact, Victorian times, I'm really drawn to Victorian times here. So here we go. But then when I'm going to the books and finding something like this, of course, there is a reason. This deck of cards needed to find me. And of course, it's the Grand, if you are listening, now check this one out, because it's the Grand Jeu de Mademoiselle Lenormand by B.P.Grimaud, and it's spelled Grimaud, Grimaud. And then that was going for 15 pounds. I got it for 12 pounds, and I came home and of course I looked it up, and then lo and behold, it has a different value when you are buying it, when you are selling it and buying it on eBay and various things. So I was really, that was actually the very interesting insight, realizing that you never know. I mean, I was really checking look at this, if you can see me, it's I was really thinking, not necessarily drawn to, because I don't know much about the Lenormand cards. I've got one beautiful deck of cards over there. But then, when I started looking, now this is actually why we are doing the look at this. Now I'll show you a few cards. It has all the cards. Look at these beautiful things. It has the constellations, the relevant, the playing cards, what they mean. Each has, in the corner, has a letter. On the main section of the card, there is one picture. It is drawn. And then at the bottom third of the card, there are three small pictures. And I was thinking, are they all related to the main picture? I am not seeing, because I thought, what I see at the bottom, one of them is going to be part of the big picture, but then it's not always the case. So since I don't know much about the Lenormand cards, I'm not going to talk about those ones, but I started looking into the little book, how it is explaining that one little picture on one card, when I put the big card next to each other in a series of, let's say, 3, how they are cross-referencing each other, the small cards, and then they are supporting the meaning of the big card. So absolutely beautiful. It has, I think, 54 cards and 2 main cards, court cards, I don't know what they are called, you know. So look at this, absolutely beautiful. So if you check this one out on eBay or somewhere else, then you see I paid £12 for this beautiful deck, and you see I got home with something even more interesting and worthwhile. You know, so I'm not going to sell this one because it was quite interesting actually. And then of course it comes with a booklet. Now my booklet is in English, doesn't have the date when it was published. It's in English, not the French version. On the cover it says Mademoiselle Lenormand's famous society game and secret practices. So you see, I don't know much about the 19th century society and what they played and playing cards. They use it for playing cards because you can use them. You can use them as playing cards. But then what else did they do? You know, premonitions or excuse me, what else did they use these cards for? You know, so you can just really imagine what this was for. And inside my deck, there's a description of the cards. Now, if you see me, you can see this as well. It's a big chart. You know, one of these, excuse me, one of these pages you can unfold and then you see the cards. Sorry guys, you see the cards inside. So absolutely fascinating. When I was standing by the store yesterday, my fingers frozen and still hanging on to these cards a couple of times. You know, I walked around and I got back and walked around and got back. And then the guy was saying, oh, you are really drawn to these cards. I did not know why I was drawn to the cards. I shuffled the cards first, and what I became present to, that actually was beautiful, was a male energy. So I feel that was belonging to somebody, a male, you know. I was feeling a gentleman who was in his 50s, possibly early 60s, somebody who was holding the cards because I needed to really feel the cards in my hand. So it wasn't, you know, when I shuffle the cards and they fall out of my hands because Spirit is taking the cards out of my hand. But then this was actually a different experience altogether because it really felt like the cards wanted to be acknowledged and wanted to be welcomed and wanted to be, now I'm here. Okay, so okay, matter of fact, black and white, we are here, and now let's work. Let's do something. Let's do something meaningful with these cards, you know. So this is what I became present immediately, and then I went back, and then I got it. And when I sat down and I looked up the meaning and the story behind these cards, then I paused a little bit because that is where I realized it actually made sense. Declutter first, let some energy out of your space and move, even physically move. Give yourself the opportunity to turn up, be in conversation with people or network or just being out there anywhere. You know, you give yourself that opportunity because then spirit consciousness is going to show you what you need to experience afterwards. And this is exactly what happened. I got a brand new card, Grand Jeu de Mademoiselle Lenormand card. And this is the big cards, the sturdy ones, what they sound like, and this is what they look like. Now, if you cannot see, the cards have, you know, one set of colors, you know, color scheme, really relevant to what you would normally see in those Victorian paintings or drawings, more of the drawings or caricature, you know. This is what I would I would call them. Now, this deck doesn't have a stamp because I know it would mean that actually it has a different value. It has an original stamp. So I looked through, I did not find the stamp online. When I looked, there is somebody selling one of these decks with a stamp, with some relevant stuff. So you see, the whole thing has a story to it and something to discover and something to look into. So I said to myself, I am really interested now, just finding out what was this society game, famous society game, and secret practices. Not the secret practices, because I want to keep the frequency high, but then what were those people thinking or feeling, apart from having their own religion? And then, of course, at those times, religion was very important, and these kind of things might not have been just very well known or very well accepted, and maybe that's why they had the secret practices and they had these society games and various things. So I am going to look into these ones because now I'm curious, not necessarily sidetracking myself, because I don't normally need cards to do work, whether I work with spirit or work with somebody, but then just having a sensation that we are here, we have received these cards, we found the cards, or the cards found us. Oh, something is happening on my screen here. That's it. So the cards found us. So what I really want to say here is that declutter, do some work around yourself before Christmas now, so that the new energy can come to you. And then interestingly, when I was sitting down and across on the shelf, my eyes set on one book, and that was Maria Antoinette's biography. So I looked into it. Of course, that's 100th century, like 100 years before our time here, because these cards are 19th century cards. 19th century cards, and Maria Antoinette is a little bit, the 18th century, 77 something, all those times. But then it really made me think how people lived, or what they believed in, or what they entertained themselves with, and what was really the purpose of these cards. So they are not the tarot cards, they have a different conversation. But oh my goodness, I'm going to show you one more time Grand Jeu de Mademoiselle Lenormand's cards here, and look at these ones. So exciting. Now, so get on with your decluttering and tidying up, and it's not the feng shui practice, but then really letting go of things. And then you see, right now I'm talking about physical objects in our lives, but energetically, once we start doing that, we really feel it. Actually, I'm listening to myself, because deep down, and I always felt that certain things already needed to go out of my environment, like the instruments or certain books or furniture or things we are hanging on to. Deep down, we know they need to go. And then once we let them go, it means the energy in us and around us starts changing. And it means that it's not that we are thinking about relationships with people or situations, but then we will start reflecting more intentionally about relationships or people and situations around us. And then right now, really, that is the time. If you haven't dealt with certain conversations, then go and do something about them, a relationship or friendship or a situation. Maybe we have been belonging to groups or communities, or having certain friends because we felt that we need to belong to somewhere. We felt that we are important. We were important for those people and situations, while deep down we felt that we already knew that we are not there. We don't need to be there. We need to go somewhere else, because we have grown and they have grown, and the time to find our own way maybe is here. And then, when we are thinking intentionally about decluttering, then that is where we are, come on, we are getting more serious and honest with ourselves and with our choices. That is the time actually that, if you have sat on the fence, haven't decided, or you believed, or you talked yourself into believing that something is still working, then come on, be honest with yourself. Maybe that is a time to say goodbye to people and situations and energies, or at least turning down the volume. It means that we are clearer with our own boundaries. We think and we reflect on our boundaries. Maybe we are not answering to your calls. We are not turning up anytime or every time when somebody needs something from that community or anything, whatever your situation, conversation is. Just reflect, because it's really just very gently, bringing the energy back to ourselves, bringing our power back to ourselves. And then as a result of that, then we feel that, oh, there's something else is happening within me, and then it will have an impact on other areas of my life. Like here, I let go of a certain set of small musical instruments, and then I gave myself the opportunity to go somewhere. Actually, I got an invitation, and that was the link that actually, oh, I go there and check that market out. I go around and walk around. And I go there when they were setting up the market. Otherwise, somebody else might have gotten this card. And then I ended up with this card, It's the Grandeur de Mademoiselle Lenormand deck by B.P.Grimaud, and I am very proud to own one deck of these cards, because most certainly they cost more than £12, so, or £50. So here we go. In fact, when the gentleman was saying, when I was asking how much, and he said 50, and I said 15, because I was hearing, I think he was a little bit even more northern of the country, and I was asking 50, because it sounded like as if he had a sound after 15. It's a couple of times, 50, 15, 50, 50, 15. And then he said 5. He said 1, 5. And I said 5, 1, 5. I thought it was 50. Just by looking and feeling the energy of the card. And he said, no, it's 5, 1, 5. But in fact, I got it for 1, 2. But here we go. So I'm not saying everybody's going to end up with some antique items and worthwhile items like this one. You never know. But then if you have to, so really it's not the actual value, or how much I paid for it, or how much it was offered for, or any of those. But then the fact that the spirit consciousness put me somewhere where something else was shown, and I need to notice it, need to acknowledge it, and I made the decision that actually, you know what, this is coming home with me because there's a reason. And I started feeling the energy of the person who was originally holding the cards, and then there was an energy and meaning to that. So I felt that was worthwhile, the whole trip, So yours is, if you have a conversation about relationship and you are really sitting on the fence, and if you are asking a psychic for the trillionth of time what is going to happen in your relationship, maybe that is a time that step back. I very often have, when I have readings with people, it comes that actually it's not about the other person, it's about you, how you are treating yourself. If we are allowing that person coming and going in our lives, not taking us seriously, then it means that we just gave the permission to the person to be that way, or to treat us that way. So if you want to change something, if you are not fully loved or accepted or welcomed or included or anything, there is no balance, there is no harmony, there is no vibrancy and colorful and excitement and adventure in a relationship, then maybe it's a time to reflect and think and reflect and draw up your boundaries. And then you have this, quite often I say to people, oh, it started snowing here while I'm talking to you, my lovely friends. How amazing that is. Oh, no. Oh, for Capricorn, when it starts raining and there's a black cat which is just jumping over the fence from the neighbor, of course. But here we go, talking about decluttering and tidying up relationships, So if you feel that something is not working, where the boundaries are not entirely clear around anything and anybody, draw your energy back a little bit, might be a little bit challenging for some of us, some of you who are really always there and ready and available and rush and help and pick up all the phones and message immediately when you get a message, or answer and rush over, or organize somebody else to have the person, because that fills you up, because you want to have peace and harmony, and then you want to be unconditionally there and available for everything and everybody, on the expense of your own mental, physical, emotional, and psychological and spiritual well-being. Maybe that is a time that actually, that was one phase. Take a step back. If you find it difficult not to answer the phone call, just experiment a little bit. Maybe hold on to not answering for a little bit longer, have the other person ringing for a little bit longer, maybe not picking up the phone, maybe the person needs to leave a message, maybe create a little, I'm not saying tension, but then energetically you are pulling, bringing the energy back to yourself. So breaking the pattern of what the two of you have set up. And then in that setup, you are not feeling entirely fruitful. I wanted to, that is the word that I'm given, fruitful. You are not feeling entirely bountifully, beautifully yourself and feeling the balance, So if anything, where we feel that something is a little bit tight and maybe not, but I'm still going along with that, then check in yourself, check it with yourself, because that's again, declutter the energy, tidy up the energy, shift the energy. Maybe the person, the people around us, they don't notice what is our sensation or how we think or feel about the situation. Maybe they don't know anything about that. So until we do something, then nothing is going to change. And if you feel that we are being held back or dragged back or any of those energies, when we are not feeling fully ourselves and really being the sparkly, beautiful energy of who we are in every single moment, the ball of light, then come on, check in with yourself, have clearer boundaries, declutter. And then you will what you know what you will notice the words, come on, you will notice something coming forward for you, because very often we are hanging on to people and situations and we tell ourselves that that is important and that's why we are doing those things. Whereas deep down, even just a couple of layers down, we know that we are lying to ourselves. That's the truth. And we are doing it because we don't want to be, at the end of the day, we don't want to be left alone or left behind, because we don't want to hurt anything and anybody. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to be the one who is shifting and changing or putting their hands up and asking or questioning or saying or telling or speaking up or questioning or any of those things, and then since you don't want to be that person, it means we go along with the old things until they become very uncomfortable and it's too tight, and then you draw the line and then you say, no, it's not working for me, and then whether you are saying it or not, or making the person, implying it or giving out that vibration, doesn't matter, as long as it is coming from you, and then you are speaking your heart, you are speaking your truth, and then you are standing for yourself, standing up for yourself and standing for what you are, what your light is about, not what you are doing or expressing, none of that. Well, that is just a result, but then what your light is about. Nobody else really can understand you, not even your very closest loved ones around you. It is you. You need to feel that energy within yourself. Boundaries, one shift. And then what happens is that, I tell you, because I was there, once we are hanging on to situations and people, and then we know it's not working, it's not the one what we want to experience. But then what happens is that finally we break the pattern, we move, we progress, we shift, we flow with the energy. And then they are staying there wherever they are, while we are moving forward. And then in the fear, that fear that, oh, they are not going to call us, they are not going to invite us, they are not going to do this, and I'm going to be left here by myself, So we go through that stage, we have to push through, because what happens that once we have our bright energy sparkling throughout, because it's sparkling there all the time, which is just our composition, which is holding everything gloomy and gray and this energy. But then once we are getting through that very delicate, like a bridge or a veil, once we push through, then the new friends, the new situation, and the new people, and the new conversation, and then I think what we need to experience next is going to levitate towards us, because they were, they everything were there. I'm just repeating my words because they are there. They were there. They have been there all the time. They have been there forever. Even before we got to this world, they were already lining up for ourselves. waiting for us to get to that point when we get through, when we push through, you know. So once we get through, then we are experiencing that energy. And then in that very moment, then we will know that actually that is why I needed to go through all the previous stages, so that I can experience that moment, that then when I'm welcoming new people, new situations, new energies, new conversations. And it's not just I am welcoming, but they are welcoming me, you know. We are levitating into each other's existence and energy, you know. And then we say, thank you. Thank you for the guidance, and thank you for even for myself, yourself, for allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because it took something. It took quite a lot of things out of us, or it takes quite a lot of things out of us when we go through that process, you know. So fascinating conversation, I know. Yes, we got a few more minutes left. It's really making me even breathing, because it's even in your physical reality, you will feel a different energy and a different breathing space within yourself when you declutter one aspect. And then it's like a swirl, you know, the energy where things are really stuck on top of each other once they are out, and then the energy very delicately, you know, like in the autumn, the wind is, or even in the summer, you know, just very gently starting moving around. Nobody notices it because it's not picking up anything, not even a leaf, you know, so we don't see it being there, but then in fact it is there. And then how we know it is there, that as it is moving around, excuse me, as it is moving around, you start picking up the tiny leaves, you know, and it's moving around and it's moving, and it's the more it gathers its strength, the stronger it becomes, and then picks up the larger leaves, you know, and pushes a few things, maybe the pots in your garden, or even the bigger things, you know, and then it takes its turn, it goes where it needs to go. This is the energy, this is how energy works, you know. So here in my show, Soulful Spirit Talks with Zsuzsanna Medium, here on Past Talk Radio, we are talking about these kind of things. And then also, if you're listening to this conversation, this podcast on my podcast, Let's Talk Spirit. Let's Talk Spirit. Yes, that's my podcast. So this is the conversation what we are sharing here with you. Now, I know I wanted to bring you the December energy forecast, but then that's going to be a different conversation. So here we go. Where can you find me if you are interested in the work I do and I share? So you can just go directly to my website, which is www.zsuzannamedium.com, and Zsuzsanna is always 9 letters, ZSUZSANNA medium.com. Sounds like a good song. I will give you a free reading if you compose a little jingle for these ones, which I can use here in this podcast or in the show or anywhere where I put this one up. So feel free to compose something on www.zsuzannamedium.com. Zsuzanna, ZSUZSANNA medium.com. So you can compose something on that, okay? ZSUZSANNA medium.com. I could something at the end, you know. So I'll give you a free reading if you bring up something, if you bring something together. So this is where you can find me. My website is going to be updated in the forthcoming couple of weeks with the new ideas, new energy going into the new year 2023. Okay, so if you don't find it immediately, hang on there, go back, visit it again. You can also check my check my other pages, my social media pages, and it's always Zsuzsanna Medium, easy to find, ZSUZSANNA Medium. You can find me there on TikTok or Facebook, a little Instagram, a little YouTube, and whichever page you are on, feel free to like, follow, and share the pages. So my little conversations can reach more people, little chit chat. Sometimes it's little chitty chatty, like today, it felt like going that way. Sometimes we are doing reading. Sometimes we are talking about various things, like I've got books here. So what happens is that we could have a few ideas, and then things are there, but then you see the energy goes where it needs to go, you know. And then right now, as this was the inclination talking about D for December, D for decluttering in December, that is the energy what we are talking about. There has been also some other conversations about your psychic, your spiritual abilities, how you can develop your abilities. And then if you are interested in those aspects, and if you want to join us, then you can do so when visiting www.patreon.com// Medium. So it's patreon.com/Zsuzsanna Medium. Again, 9 letters, ZSUZSANNA Medium. You can find me there. We've got a lovely group of first intuitives. There are other groups, but then this is what is the energy, where the energy goes right now. First intuitives, and we meet once a week. And then you also get your own recordings, your monthly recordings with your 1, 3, 5 cards with your keyword for the month included. And then you also get the 12 months, the monthly energy forecast. We haven't done the 12 month yet. So you get also that one. And then also we've got 2 social media pages, private pages, where we can interact with each other. And yes, so if you are interested, check that one out. It's only £5 plus VAT, so it's about £5.56 or £6 or something like that. You can cancel it at any time if you are not happy. But I have a feeling, because the energy what we are creating and questions are answered. Excuse me. Questions are answered, and it's really your space to create the conversation or we are growing together, you know. So excuse me. Yeah, here we go. So that's available for you as well. And I'm also available for readings, private readings and consultations, and again, talks, a public demonstration of mediumship, and talks on spiritual development. And then if you have ever watched and followed my conversations, we are coming from personal experience and talking, you know, using those moments of reflection, and at the same time working with higher frequencies as well. So here we go. I hope you found this conversation interesting, exciting, engaging. The very first time where you can see me, and not just hear, but see me. So whatever you are listening, thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy. Let me know what resonated with you. Feel free to send an email to hello@zsuzannamedium.com, ZSUZSANNA medium.com. Send an email there. And since I figured out how we can make this one work, we are going to be able to do something different, I think, next time and onwards going into 2023. Let me know how you're getting on with your decluttering, what's coming up for you, what questions you have, what topics you want me to talk about or guests to bring onto this show. And just say hello wherever, whatever page you are listening to right now. So from this space, I'm sending you lots of love, many, many blessings, and speak to you very, very soon. Thanks. Bye. Bye.